We have a number of people that are praying that the fires go elsewhere than onto their homes at this time. And we just want to see the fires just letting go and ending. And damage is so minuscule. We just want to see this powerful and energy of fire just kind of depleting out, stopping, ending. I know we live in the mountains, and I know what people go through that are worried about their homes. It's all part of the beauty of living in the mountains and having all of nature around you. But to have those people get into a meditative state and feel the presence and the safety in that presence and the calming down of the winds. Peaceful air, gentle air. Tonight we're going to do Sata Nama. Sa is the beginning, infinity, the totality of everything that ever was or will be. That's Sa. Ta is life, existence, and creativity that manifests from infinity. Na is death, change, and the transformation of consciousness. Ma is rebirth, regeneration, and resurrection, which allows us to consciously experience the joy of the infinite. Satan Ma is so primal that this impact on our psyche is like splitting an atom. The power of this mantra comes from the fact that it rearranges the subconscious mind at the most elementary level. It has the power to break habits and addictions because it accesses the level of the mind where habits are created. I have a handout in the front. As you leave, you can pick it up and take it with you. And every morning when you wake up, if you want to put on music and just do Satanama for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever you can give to it. It helps you start your day centered in the presence of the divine. So just get yourself comfortable and let's do Satanama. Satanama, 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 Sata Nama 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 Sata Sata Nama. Sata Nama. Sata Nama. Sata Nama. Sata Nama. Sata
Good evening, everyone. Many, many, many years ago, I think I was in high school in the summer. I heard about this job at a plant called Yardley's of London. It's still around today. They make these products that are shipped from all over the world: soap and cologne, perfume and hair stuff, and all the products that go with beautifying the physical body. And they were looking for just someone to do labor, grunt work around the plant, and then maybe work his way up to becoming a packer. And as they explained it, the packers made really good money. Now, it was interesting because to pack, they had these different stations, about 4 different stations where it was manned by one person, a guy, and they would take a rolling tray filled with products. They would roll it into the station. Each one got one of these huge rolling things filled a number of levels with products from Yardley of London. And they also received a packing slip with that tray. And it was up to the packer to look at the packing slip and to make a box he figured would be the right size. He had about 3 or 4 different size cardboard boxes that he would throw together, throw a piece of tape across the back, and load the box up with the products on the list for the particular store that this was going to. It was not an easy job, because the packer would have to have all these different things, had different sizes and shapes. I mean, the hairspray and the eyebrow pencils and the lipstick and the cologne all had different shapes. And you had to put them in the box and then put different types of stuffing and partitions so that they wouldn't bounce into each other when they're being shipped and break. And they had these 4 stations going, and these particular packers worked on time so that they had a specific hourly wage that they made in getting out the number of boxes that they were given to get out. But after that, if they were ahead of the schedule, they got more money or bonuses for boxes that they were able to get out that were beyond their usual hourly abilities. And when I went there to work, I was shown by the supervisor. He would take me and I'd be standing behind each one of these stations. And he would say to me, you'd see these guys really working away to get these boxes packed, put them on the conveyor, and then the box would go downstairs to the actual place where it's shipped, either by truck or even by train. They had train tracks that came through there. The big problem was a guy at the end of the conveyor belt would shake your box. And if he heard anything in that box rattling, he marked it, put it on another conveyor, and it came back to you and had to be repacked. So you really had to be a superior packer so that you knew all the stuffing and the slides and the cardboard partitions that you put in that box were going to keep those products from ever breaking while they're being shipped. And watching them, they're really going at it to pack these boxes. I'm just watching. The supervisor is showing me. And he said to me, which one of these 4 packers do you think makes the most money? I said, well, I don't know. Maybe that guy there in slot number 2. I mean, he's working a great sweat coming off of him. And the supervisor said, no. He's the packer in number 4. And I thought, well, the packer in number 4 doesn't look like he's speeding at any rate whatsoever. I don't think he's ever going to get all the boxes that these other guys were going to get out. But the supervisor said to me, this man in number 4 is shell shock. There's something wrong with his brain. And he has no feelings or relationship to time whatsoever. And he never gets a box sent back to him. And he knows when he picks a box out and puts it up, he never has to go and change that box. He immediately knows when he looks at that packing slip what size box and what partitions and what stuffing was needed to go into that box. And so he never gets a box sent back because he never has anything rattling at the end of the conveyor belt. And that was interesting to me. I just thought, well, here's a really handicapped person. He said he was shell-shocked, I guess, either in the Second World War or maybe in the Korean conflict. He saw some action that just blew his mind. But he had no relationship to time. He was never in a hurry. He just lived in a perfect now experience in which his mind related clearly what was appropriate in that now moment. I didn't know anything about that stuff back then. Over the years, of course, I've been involved with all kinds of teachings, spiritual teachings, like those of Eckhart Tolle's, that are, they are espousing the idea that true peace, happiness, insight, and love come from somehow realigning your awareness to the now moment so that you don't have anything else going on. You're not having concerns about the past or guilt from the past or fears of the future. You're trying to fix the future and do something better for the future. Tolle's philosophy is be here now, awake in the present moment. And everything that needs to be accomplished in that moment will be accomplished through you in the immediate now awareness. Eckhart Tolle was not the first master that taught that truth. As a matter of fact, just about every master that ever became a master of life, he espoused or she espoused that truth of aligning one's awareness with the now moment. And even way before Baba Ram Das, who wrote a book probably 20 years, 25 years before Eckhart Tolle ever came on the scene. His book was titled Be Here Now. And even before him, Krishnamurti, who was, his origin was from India, but he lived and taught throughout the United States for 35 years. And what he did at one of his grand lectures, in which 1,000 or more people were in attendance, he said to them, what I'm going to share with you is the greatest revelation of my life. It is the reason why I forever am in a state of peace, insight, and joy. And so everybody waited. As a matter of fact, while he was talking, there was even a pause for them to take a break. They had to take a 15 or 20-minute break during that symposium. And everybody was on the edge of their seats when they came back to hear what he had to say about his greatest revelation. In all those years he was alive, and they all considered him an enlightened master teacher. And what he said was, I don't care what happens. I don't care what happens. And during the question and answer period, an hour later, people were saying, what do you mean? When don't you not care? Well, he said, I never care what happens. It's the reason why I'm always in a state of peace and insight. I let whatever is happening to happen the way it is happening. I have no mental druthers that it shouldn't be happening, or why is this happening, or I think I can make this happen better. I don't have any of that. I just let whatever's happening happen just as it is happening. And this, of course, is the same revelation that the masters all seem to come to. That in bringing one's awareness into the now moment, one will be in a higher state of consciousness, just like the guy on that assembly line in the packing. He was in a higher state of consciousness, even though he entered that state by some terrible thing that took place during a warlike experience. It blew out something in his brain that he could only live now. And these masters are saying you can train the mind to be awake and aware in the now moment, allowing the moment to be whatever the moment is. And that's Eckhart Tolle's whole philosophical perspective. And he speaks to it over and over again in his book, The Power of Now. And he also has written a number of other books beside The Power of Now. He wrote a book titled A New Earth, and that book is about how to find your destiny in this world of seeming convoluted events. And then he had a book recently, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it came out. The title of his Stillness Speaks. And in that book, on page 63, paragraph 1 and 2, he wrote this: whenever you are able, have a look inside yourself to see whether you are unconsciously creating conflict between the inner and the outer, between your external circumstances at that moment, where you are, who you are with, or what you are doing, and your thoughts and feelings. I'll read that again. That's a long, drawn-out sentence. Whenever you are able, have a look inside yourself to see whether you are unconsciously creating conflict between the inner and the outer, between your external circumstances at that moment, where you are, who you are with, or what you are doing, and your thoughts and feelings. Can you feel how painful it is to internally stand in opposition to what is? He's talking about checking within when you're having emotions of resistance to what is taking place in this now moment. When you have those moments of resistance, you are in a state of conflict. You are in a state where you are creating negative emotions. Your thoughts are probably running like, how is I always wind up in these ridiculous situations? Or I didn't want to run into this person today. Or why is this person still doing this when I told them to do it this way? So there's all kinds of things that you'll be thinking of what this moment is presenting, which in your own ego-centered idea of life shouldn't be happening, and you're in resistance to it. But what the Master is saying, and the Masters are saying down through the ages, is to find your way into the enlightened state of consciousness. You have to allow the moment to be just what it is, not wanting it to be otherwise, not concerned, not trying to fix it, change it, get rid of it, just willing to be one with what is, flowing with what is. This goes on to say this: when you recognize that you have been in resistance, you also realize that you are now free to give up the futile conflict this inner resistance causes. So when he's saying check in, whenever you feel resistance and you're going through negative thoughts and projections about what's going on, he's saying whenever you recognize that you are in a state of inner resistance, you can also realize how to give up this futile conflict, this inner resistance to what is. So you see a dynamic shift away from traditional religion altogether. Because in traditional religion, we are trying to appease a separate, distant God. And we are, in many cases, doing what we believe is the right thing to do. We're trying to be patient, we're trying to be peaceful, we're trying to be considerate, and we're trying to be loving. But I'm using the word trying because we are often in that state of resistance, even though we seem to be serving, like you've gone to the homeless shelter and you've decided to go over there and serve on a weekend because that's what you feel is a good Christian duty to be involved with. But while you're over there, you're having resistance within when you see some of these homeless people taking more than their share of the food, so that other people at the end of the line aren't going to get as much. And then there's other things that'll take place, and you'll feel, this animosity toward the service that you're performing. But you see, that service is useless because you are not in alignment with the will of God. You're not willing, see, you're judging. You're in a state of judgment. You're supposing you know better. You probably are standing there at that line thinking, I could set this up so that nobody would get more than their share. I could set it up so that, everybody would get their share of food. You're probably thinking that, resisting, watching this take place. And then if you see 2 people in a row taking more than they need, and then 3, you're on the edge. You're probably going to say something to somebody. And it's futile. It's a belief that your personal point of view, your perspective, is objectively clear, right, and true. So you are in a state of judgment, and you never really took to heart what the Master of Life said to us all. Judge not, that you be not judged. Because the measure of judgment you're putting out is coming back to you. So you're suffering for that judgment instead of allowing the moment to be just what it is. Everyone has had moments of this mystical peace that comes with allowing the present moment to be what it is. Everyone's had an experience in this. They've experienced it and enjoyed it. They've had experiences when a person was doing his or her favorite hobby. It might be pottery or macrame or even, crocheting. It could be journaling in your journal. It could be painting. You're painting something. It could be something musical. You're working on creating some musical thing on a piano, guitar, or something. But when you're doing that, you get to a point where you pull away from it and you say, wow, what happened to the time? You had no sense of time. Now hours have passed while you're doing this, but you weren't aware that the time was passing like that. And why weren't you aware that time was passing like that? Because you weren't in the normal conditioned thinking brain projection. What happened was, you so loved what you were doing, you so gave your attention to what you were doing, that time had no meaning anymore. Let me read this to you from the Course in Miracles. Is that it? I don't have the exact quote I wanted to share, it's all right. But you're involved in writing. You might be journaling, or you might be writing poetry, or you might be involved in cooking a special meal for some guests that are coming over. And in the process of doing that, you are so filled with the joy of doing it, you lost track of time because your awareness of doing and the job being done or the hobby being done or the writing that you were doing you merged with it. There was no separate body, personality, self who was doing something. That separate idea of self, which we carry with us in the illusionary state of consciousness, disappeared because you had become so enamored with the process that your consciousness entered the process of doing. There was no longer someone doing something. There was only that which was being done in that moment. All of this is being done in this moment, and there's no separate awareness of you doing it. So the time goes by, and you say, wow, where did the time go? For that time, you are in an enlightened state of totally allowing this process you were involved with. You merged with the process, and there was only the process. Here's the catch coming up. Are you ready to hear the catch to all this? It's not all beer and roses. So if you don't want to hear the hard part, I give you permission to leave now. But if you leave now, you have to leave $100 right here. Okay. You know, I feel that everyone sitting here and everyone out there who may be tuning in on live stream has gotten this so far. You're really inspired by this whole concept. So I feel that you've all got that. And so you know that in those times when you're really doing that which you are so intent on doing, enamored by the doing of it, that you lost the idea of being a separate self in a world of separate phenomena that you judge day in and day out and keep yourself separate and apart from flowing. But here's the catch. You can do that when you're doing something that you really, truly love doing. The masters of life can do that when they're involved in things they personally wouldn't want to be doing. What? That's it. You see here, what I just said in that sentence. They could sell all the cathedrals in the world and take that money and feed the poor worldwide. Go out and help the children that need schooling. Go out and put clothing on the backs of so many kids in the world that don't have clothing, they don't have schooling, they don't have food. All this religion, this pomp, this circumstances is because people are not awake in the reality of the divine moment. So we have religion, and what we are doing is countered in the limited awareness that we were grown in, we grew up in, we're taught to believe in. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for tooth. We hold negative emotions for those who don't seem to go along with our personal opinions, and on and on and on and on and on until you get to the Gaza, where you have crackpots who haven't got an inkling about what life is all about, willing to murder entire populations. It's just that crazy, the world, because it doesn't know how to listen to it. They don't know how to be still. Just to be still and okay listen to it, without wanting anything otherwise. They don't know how to be still and okay without wanting anything to be otherwise. Because when you get there, you recognize the beauty, the peace, the joy, the love, the ability to be of assistance to the moment in which you find yourself. Assistance to life as it goes on. And when you're doing that, here's what you should take away from this talk. You interrupt me again. Okay. Where was I? What you need to take away from this talk is when you get to that place where you're capable of being still and not wanting anything to be otherwise, because you are in that moment assisting life being peace. And you are also assisting because you are doing the will of God. So we're going to meditate together because that's how we practice quieting the incessant thinking we were born and raised and educated to believe in. Getting ahead, getting more, making sure you can manipulate enough people to get your expectations met, etc., etc. But here you came seeking. And what, when you came seeking, did you suppose the truth that was going to make you free would be? You supposed that the truth that was going to make you free was going to allow you to gain enough physical good health and personal prosperity that you could really buy your way around all the difficulties and the problems that life presents us with. And you'd certainly be okay, because now you were right with God, and God is showing you how to have everything you want from the world, and that's going to make your life work. But look what happened. What did you do here? Why'd you walk in those doors tonight? You know what the Master of Life said about this truth? When he was speaking to all these people, he said, you go any place to hear the wisdom of the Queen of the South. You'd go any place to hear the wisdom of Solomon. You'd go through hoops. You'd climb mountains. You'd swim oceans to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And the truth that is shared with you in this moment is greater than anything either of them ever said. So we're going to meditate together. Take a couple of deep breaths. As you release your breath, just be okay with sitting here. And be okay with whatever extraneous thinking may be going on. Just gently be okay with even watching your extraneous thinking. Or watching your breath coming in and out. Resting in the moment just as it is. and as it is not. See, some people come here, they want it to be a certain way, so they want it to be what they want and not what it is. And so now, you can take a couple of deep breaths, release your breath, and bring to mind, gently to mind, this particular mantra. I am in you. You are in me. I am the way, the truth, and the life that will make you free. Be still and know that I am God. I am in you. You are in me. I am the way, the truth, and the life that will make you free. Be still and know that I am the way all things are. Be still and know the will of God. I am in you. You are in me. I am the way of true life that will make you free. Be still and awake whenever you are resisting the moment. For the moment is my choosing for you. Be still then and know that I am God. in this refined level of awareness, we will offer the names of those that have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name, just let the thought or feeling, love, go to the name.
Maple the pug. No pets or kids in hot cars. Safety of Colorado firefighters. Land burning in Colorado, Lyons and Loveland. Safety of West Coast firefighters. Rain for forest fire areas. Pat Musselman and wife. Charlotte Dujardin and her horses. Faye Russell. Lyons residents. Loveland residents. Jamie. Marie. Wayne. Susan. Sue H. Unity of Boulder. Terrell Clima Sikora. Stephen Sikora. Canadian and California fires 100% contained. Fire safe. Protected pets. Wildlife safe. Protected in Canada and California, free of drought. Carol, Nick, Celeste, Sal, Ruth, Lisa, Michelle, Rose May, Petra, Pete, Miles, Loving Kindness, Natalie and Forrest, D.E., Sherry, Trish, family in South Carolina, Todd Hawks, Pamela Cobb, Tyler Cobb, Amanda Cobb, Bobby S., Erie Benson, Serena Benson, Janet, Donna, Ryan Christopher, Chester Phillips, Ted Fetters, Harvey, Kyle, Taylor, Tony, Andrew and Lolo Billiam, Jeanette, Jim M., Bonnie, Howie, Anwin, Orion, Jean and Willow, Crystal Dom, Darmentich family, Guru J.G., Baby Violet, Eris and Tess and their dog. You can call out a name at this time if you would like to do so.
D. Matthew and family. Sandy Spahn, Dan Spahn, S. Casey and family, S. Daniel and family.
We see this healing light surrounding the prayer box and all the people's names that have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let us take a few moments now to embrace the vision of the new heaven in earth, which is the result of humanity coming into the higher level of awareness and recognizing the interconnectedness of all life forms, joining in the joy and peace of that oneness as we look forward to every person in these United States of America rising to the occasion of the high insight which comes with integrity. And we see this insight, this divine awareness rising in the consciousness of everyone in every nation of the world, in every culture, in every race, all coming into the recognition of the brother and sisterhood of humanity, and the joy, peace, and love that transpires as we fulfill our inspired tasks as individuals and as groups and nations of people. As we pray now, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and God is love. To this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. While we're preparing to do this, I'd like to appeal to those of you watching this on the live stream or on our website. If you're on our website, you can scroll up to the right-hand corner where it says Make a Donation. If you're on live stream, you can scroll down to where it says Make a Donation. You may even be able to see the QR code that is available on our website for Venmo and PayPal if you want to make an electronic donation to Unity of Boulder. But do make a donation. And everyone here can bring to mind that gift they'd like to make. Possibly bring them into your hands and bless them with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Amen. Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe to the will and the work of the Spirit of truth, the Spirit available to each of us, the Spirit that joins all of us. We dedicate this tithe to the victory of the Spirit of truth. Amen. Sunday we'll have our 9 a.m. meeting. It will be a follow-up talk on this particular theme of finding our way into the living now. And Santisha will be officiating at the second service at 11 o'clock. We have tea and cookies for those of you who'd like to stay and chat through these doors to your left into the bookstore. To everyone, have a beautiful night.